Alrighty. Oh, you don't even hear the background noise. Is my fan. Maybe you do when I start talking, but who knows. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderfully exciting stream. And in today's stream, I'm going to be reading and filling out a workbook, but I want to start by giving a shout out to... Hello, Bunny. How's it? How's it going? Uh, well, first off, I guess I should shout out. Thank you. I guess I should shout out you first because you're the one who actually gave me the book. It felt a little weird giving Wheezy a shout out when Wheezy's not here, for one, and for two, being all like, thanks, Wheezy. And Wheezy's like, well, what did I do? I didn't do anything. But you did. You got the book for Bunny, and Bunny got the book from me, and now I'm going to pay it forward, and I'm going to complete the workbook, read the workbook, along with you. It's going well. How's it going with you? It's going good, When I broke my arrow, I was kind of like, man, I'm gonna have to buy more arrows, and then it just seems like this isn't a business, it's a hobby, and then it's always gonna be a hobby, but that's like where this therapy book comes in, right? Because on page, let me tell you here, on page 2, it gives you a very helpful diagram talking about how the cognitive behavioral model works. It's based on CBT, the cognitive behavioral model, is based on the cognitive behavioral model of psychology, which assumes that it's not the things that trouble us, but rather our view of those things that trouble us. By changing our thoughts, then, we can change the way we feel and act. The cognitive behavioral model includes the following. Number 1, thoughts. Thoughts cause feelings. Our minds constantly generate thoughts and images. If you hear a sound in the dark and think that's someone breaking into the house, then you might feel anxious. On the other hand, if you think that's the patter of rain on the window, you might feel relaxed and comfortable. The good news is that if you can change a thought, then you can change a feeling. So thoughts... I gotta really find a better way to show this to you. Just get a diagram online and show you, but there it is. Thoughts can lead to situations and feelings. So, feelings and physical sensations. Feelings or emotions are part of everyday life. There are positive feelings like joy and excitement, hopefulness, or serenity. There are negative feelings too, like anger, anxiety, sadness, or guilt. Feelings include physical sensations or experiences, such as a racing heart or trembling hands. Feelings are signals. They alert us to possible danger. They orient us to a problem to solve. Feelings are perfect. If you feel anxious, you feel anxious. There is no debating a feeling. However, the thoughts that cause the feelings are open to examination and debate. Also, Bunny, how are you? I don't think I asked, but how are you doing? Or did I? Because you said it's going well. So, what are you up to? Besides listening to me. Actions. Every emotion has a behavioral tendency or motivation. When you're anxious, you're motivated to be cautious and vigilant. When you're angry, you're motivated to strike out to defend yourself. When you're sad, you're motivated to slow down and seek solitude to regroup. There are mental behaviors too. There are thought actions, such as thinking through how to solve a problem or repeatedly thinking about a past hurt or slight. Thoughts can directly cause you to act. For example, the thought, I'll do it later, most likely means that you'll put off the task. Attention. Attention or awareness influence the other factors of this model. When your attention rests on a feeling or physical sensation, the intensity of the feeling or sensation can increase in the way an itch intensifies in bed at night, when you're distracted and therefore more aware of the itch. When your attention goes to a thought, this awareness can increase the frequency of the thought. When your attention focuses on a behavior, this awareness can increase or decrease the frequency of the behavior. Bunny says, I'm getting better sitting here listening attentively. Good. Did you stretch yet? Have you stretched your arms and shoulders? What I started doing out when I was walking the dog is I'd stick my arm out to the side, and then I'd go in, and then I'd go out, and I just did that 10 times. And then what I did, well, hello, Stanley. And then what I did is I'd lift up my arm like this, and I did a waving, up, down, up, down. I did that 10 times. I raised my arm above my head, down, up. I even started doing just a sweeping upward motion, sweep forward in front of your body and back. Stanley leaves as soon as Gypsy shows up. Gypsy. 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 Of course, it gets all fuzzy as soon as I start petting her. Blurry. It's not the word I was looking for. Blurry. Aw, mon. She's inhaling these things. Yes. Yes. Ham it up, Gypsy, ham it up. Beautiful girl, give her pats from me. That's from Bunny. Pet, 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 pet. Pet, 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 pet. Bless you. Shh. Now go lay down. I gave you your pets. Getting a staring contest with my dog. Anyway, she looks like it does look like she's smiling, doesn't it? I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that. Look who else has showed up. Showed back up, I should say. Sounds like it's my turn now. Meow. Stanley. The goal of CBT is to learn skills to influence your attention, think reasonably about events and situations, and test out thoughts in the real world to see whether they're accurate or not. Wow, sure did see that. Lol. What are you talking about? Stanley? You talking about Stanley? Yeah, he's Stanley, man. You know, he's a great cat. Anyway, when you think more accurately or in more helpful ways, you'll feel better and be more willing to make small changes in your behavior. That's when things really start to change. Changing your behavior is the path to deep and lasting change. Changing your thinking is where you start. The workbook includes a set of skills that you'll learn and then practice repeatedly as problems arise, such as the abdominal breathing skill or identifying errors skill. These skills target the principal factors that experts believe maintain your emotional distress and interfere with living a full and successful life. There are many CBT skills, but there are two general types of skills that are likely to help most people with most problems. I feel like just doing this makes the lighting better. Inside skills. These CBT skills primarily target what's inside you, thoughts, attention, and the physical manifestations or feelings of feelings such as tension and stress. Inside skills include skills to relax your body, change your thinking, and improve your ability to focus your attention. Outside skills. Not every problem is a problem with the way you think. There are real problems outside of you that are best managed with skills that can change the situation. Outside skills include skills to communicate clearly, prioritize and break down tasks, or schedule and plan ahead. Some skills build on previous skills, so it helps to read through all the skill chapters from the beginning to the end the first time you use the workbook. You'll discover some skills work better for you than others. That's okay, but try all of the skills at least once and then decide which ones are your go-to skills. The workbook includes many examples that make each skill clear, as well as worksheets and logs to help you to learn and practice the skills. Many of these materials, as well as audio recordings of the meditations, are available for download at the website for this workbook. See the back of this workbook for details. In addition, the workbook includes experiential exercises to help you learn a skill from the inside out. Exercises might include questionnaires for you to complete, questions for you to answer, and activities for you to try that help you understand a skill and how it can help you feel better now. In the final chapter, you'll learn to integrate all of these skills into a plan to help you practice, and that's the rub. You're not likely to feel significantly better by just reading the workbook. Changing those unhelpful patterns of thinking and acting takes practice, but not as much practice as you think. Just 30 minutes each day will help you feel better. Of course, you can practice more if you like. There's no downside to more practice. In fact, the more you practice, the more the skill becomes automatic. That's when you'll truly notice a change. With little effort, you'll automatically apply one of the many skills you've learned. Now take a moment and think about why you're reading this workbook. What do you want to change in your life? What do you do that you'd like to stop doing or do something more helpful instead? What are the ways you tend to think that cause you to feel needlessly anxious, angry, or upset? How would you like to feel differently about yourself, about your future, or about the people in your life? I wrote, I want to start thinking positively. I want to be less judgmental, and I want to accept myself, were 3 things I wrote. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee before it gets cold. The audience for the Cognitive Behavioral Therapy Workbook includes 2 groups. The first group includes people who are in CBT and would like a workbook to help them learn and practice CBT skills in their therapy. If you've already been meeting with a therapist, take the workbook to your next therapy appointment so that you and your therapist can decide which skills would be particularly helpful in your therapeutic work altogether. The second group includes people who are curious about CBT and want to learn CBT skills on their own. With diligence and practice, the skills in this workbook can help you achieve significant relief. But if you're having a difficult time learning and practicing these skills, seek the services of a qualified cognitive behavior therapist. The path forward. Perhaps you've tried other therapies or read other workbooks, and you're feeling a bit hopeless that anything can help you live a more comfortable and fuller life. However, there's every reason to feel hopeful. The CBT skills in this workbook are powerful. Regardless of your genetics or the difficult moments you've experienced in your life, you can learn skills to manage your distress, improve your relationships, and with time, transform your life. You've likely heard the Chinese proverb, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step." It reminds us of the basic truth about change. No matter how easy or difficult the change, the path forward begins with that first step or action. The path forward is reading the first page, practicing the first skill, and then the next and the next. That's the path forward, one small step at a time. Chapter 1: Motivation Skills. Motivation is a willingness to start, continue, or stop a goal-oriented behavior. And that comes from Wasserman and Wasserman 2020. In other words, motivation is the willingness to act in the direction of change. Motivation can change by the day and sometimes by the minute. Motivation is central to any behavioral change, whether it's increasing the frequency with which you exercise, eliminating after-dinner snacks, mastering your tennis backhand, or learning and practicing CBT skills. Motivation skills are inside skills because they target the internal barriers to goal-oriented behavior, the thoughts and feelings that influence your willingness to act in the direction of change. An example is when it's time to practice a relaxation skill, such as progressive muscle relaxation, and you think, "I'm too busy right now, I'll do it later." Why are motivation skills important? The journey to deep and lasting change is neither easy nor straightforward. That's why skills to increase and maintain your motivation are essential. You'll use the motivation skills in this chapter in 2 ways. 1. To learn and practice skills. Just like most skills you've learned in life, riding a bicycle, typing, or making friends, there will be moments when you wonder whether you can accomplish what you've set out to do. Learning and practicing the CBT skills in this workbook are not exceptions. Practice is the key, and motivation is the skill that helps you practice and practice again. To face uncomfortable feelings. Perhaps there is no more difficult CBT skill to practice than the skill of facing, rather than avoiding, uncomfortable feelings or emotions. Whether your goal is to stand up for yourself, make more friends, or increase your energy, it's essential that you practice the skills you've learned when feeling uncomfortable or painful emotions. Motivation translates into willingness, and willingness is the key to facing discomfort. Thought I just gave myself a paper cut. A taste of motivation. You've purchased this workbook. No, I didn't. And you're reading this chapter. I am. That's the great first step. Thank you. At the same time, although change begins with a first step, lasting change requires persistence. And persistence requires motivation. To get a taste of how difficult it can be to motivate yourself to do something, even if that something is easy, use the Taste of Motivation log. Instructions. 1. To get a taste of motivation, set a goal for yourself to sit and do nothing for 5 minutes every day for 1 week. Not to listen to music, scroll through social media, feeds, meditate, nothing. Just sit in silence with yourself for 5 minutes. Number 2. Set a timer for 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, record your experience on the Taste of Motivation log. If you didn't do the exercise, record your experience on the log for that day too. Pay attention to inside barriers. These are the thoughts, "I'll do it later," or "this is a waste of time," and feelings, for example, anxiety, irritation, or sadness, that arose that made it difficult for you to do the exercise that day. Perhaps outside barriers got in the way. For example, you couldn't find a quiet place to sit for 5 minutes, or you had a big project with a looming deadline. Okay, so it has a day of the week, from Sunday to Saturday, the time that you did you do it, and if you didn't do it, why didn't you do it? What were the inside and outside barriers? So I could say, like, an outside barrier would be this website, right? Like, by me being on here, it's kind of a distraction, but that's also kind of the point. It's holding me accountable so that I can pull out my pen and be like, okay, how do we do this? And if I just have to sit here for 5 minutes and do nothing, then that's what I'll do. It seems pretty straightforward. Okay, I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Wow, that was more agonizing than I thought. But I learned a lot. Like, my first instinct was to just like write down things so I wouldn't lose them. Like, I wanted to just sort of like, okay, this is the first thing that popped in my head. Like, the first thing that popped in my head was me singing to myself, Bruno Mars, That's What I Like. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but. And then after that, it was Misty Mountains. But all I could think of was like, I really just want to sing right now, you know? Like, I just really want to like self soothe. And then I even like wanted to pick up the pen and start fidgeting with it, and I'm like, no, the whole point is to just sit here. And like I was even like opening the book to like write stuff down, and then it's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But I did do it. Well, today's not Sunday though. Um, shit. Today's Thursday, and it was 8:34. Bunny, did you do it? Did you just sit there in silence for uh 5 minutes? What were the inside and outside barriers to sitting for 5 minutes each day? So like, what were the inside and outside barrier? Oh, if you did do it, okay. So like an inside barrier was just like wanting to sing, I guess. And I found it difficult to quiet my mind. Yeah, like I just keep getting like stuff popping in my head. But like all I can also think of is like, man, I should just join a choir. You know, like I just the desire to self-soothe, the desire to connect with other people. It's just like I don't want to go join a choir because I guess I just feel like it's juvenile, I guess. But there's adult choirs, you know. I guess I just don't know where to start. I'm afraid of rejection, and I'm gonna go there, and they're just gonna be like, "No, we don't want you." And it's like, fuck, you know. And why did I even bother trying, you know? I guess it's that. It's like not wanting to be negative right off the bat. But an outside barrier was my phone. Like I wanted to look at my phone. So my phone and Twitch and I guess you could say Discord were outside barriers too, but nobody was messaging me. But if somebody did message me, then it would have affected me. Like, what's an inside barrier? I thought we already looked at that. What's this barrier, not skill? Inside barriers are the thoughts and feelings that arose that made it difficult to do the exercise. Yeah, I guess just like I just want to sing, you know. Perhaps outside barriers got in the way, but I didn't see a lot of outside barriers. Um, Setting goals is a motivation skill because, by definition, motivation focuses on increasing and maintaining goal-directed behavior. Just like entering the address of your destination in the GPS before you start a trip, clear goals describe the steps, left turn, right turn, straight ahead, that you will follow to get where you're going and how to tell when you've arrived. For example, if success means feeling less anxious, what would you be doing differently? Would you speak more often to people you don't know? Would you procrastinate less? If success means feeling less guilty, how does that present itself in your life? Would you more often say no to requests you usually would say yes to because you're feeling guilty for saying no? Would you purchase fresh raspberries even when you feel guilty because you think it's such a splurge? The best goals are specific and measurable. That comes from Doran, Doran, 1981. Goals that are specific and measurable tell you where you're going, how to get there, and when you've arrived. A specific and measurable goal is usually a behavioral goal because the best measure of whether you've achieved a goal or not is to look at what you're doing or not doing. Here are some examples. Ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish or handle differently, and in what specific situations? How would I like to act or behave differently? For example, if your general goal is to be more assertive, your specific measurable goals might be speak to my boss about a raise or suggest a movie to my friend rather than waiting for her to decide. Ask yourself, if I met my goal, what would I be doing differently? How would I be reacting to situations differently? For example, if your general goal is to improve your self-esteem, your specific measurable goal might be sharing with my work colleagues what I accomplished this week, or dating people who are as successful as me. Ask yourself, if I met my goal, what about my life would be different? For example, if your general goal is to feel less depressed, your specific measurable goal might be going out one weekend day per week with friends, or exercising for 20 minutes twice a week. Look at the example worksheet and then set your own goals using the specific and measurable goals worksheet. Begin with a general goal, but rethink the general goal in terms of specific, measurable, long-term, immediate, and short-term goals. Remember to ask yourself the questions you've learned to help with this. 2. Describe a small step you could take today to move closer to your goals. So, a general goal might be something like to feel less irritated with my friends. The long-term goal is to not blow up over little things my friends say. The intermediate goal is to respond calmly and smile at the little things my friends say and do. The short-term goal is to leave the situation if I feel like I'm gonna blow up. General goal, get along with my spouse. The long-term goal will be to go out with my spouse once a week and go away for the weekend once every 3 months. Intermediate goal would be to watch a movie my spouse wants to watch and suggest short walks around the neighborhood with my spouse. A short-term goal for getting along better with your spouse would be don't blow up over little things my spouse forgets to do, like not closing the cabinet drawer or not putting dirty dishes in the dishwasher. A general goal, take better care of my health. Long-term, do some form of aerobic exercise at least 3 times a week and eat healthy meals 3 times each day. An intermediate goal might be to lose 6 pounds this month. A short-term goal would be walk around the block every morning before work, and on Saturdays ride my bike to and from the farmer's market. Be more assertive. Express my preferences, limits, and opinions to friends, family, colleagues, and supervisor comfortably and without qualification. Intermediate, say no to unreasonable requests from my supervisor. Short-term, express my opinions to my friends. Specific measurable goals. Feel less anxious. Do more activities on my own. Feel less anxious speaking to people I don't know well. Try new things with friends. Volunteer to do things at work that I've never done before. I feel like I did do that at the grocery store yesterday. When I saw some kid wearing a shirt and I liked the way the shirt looked, even though I didn't really even know. I was like, "Hey buddy, nice shirt." And he was like kind of like taken aback by it. But like next time I might be like, "Hey buddy, cool shirt. What's it say?" Kind of queuing him up to say something to me, and I'll be like, "Ah, that's really cool. Have a nice day." Just like this social anxiety. I don't like talking to people because I always feel like it's going to end poorly. So I like how it said feel less anxious. And that was one of the things. It's like just do things on your own, not things with other people. So an intermediate goal would be to say hello to strangers and don't check on my kids as much. No texts, don't call if they don't respond to my first text, don't repeatedly ask if they finished their homework. And a short-term goal for feeling less anxious would be to give presentations at work. I guess this is kind of giving a presentation on Twitch, this should help with my anxiety. Because it's like, I sort of told myself that like social media is like the opposite of self-acceptance. Because if you're always putting yourself out there, you don't accept who you are. You're always looking for people to validate you and whatever. But like, I do accept myself, which is why I came on here without second guessing. Are people gonna care? It's like I don't care if people don't care. That's not my problem. Like I care. That's why I'm doing it. Because part one is like accountability. I want people to know that I'm actually doing it. The other part of it is I know it's gonna be good for me, so I'm gonna do it. And if I can force myself to do it in a place where people can watch me, hold me accountable to it, that's nice. But then it can also benefit everybody else. It's like, well, what did you learn from this? Instead of just like playing video games or something. And that's fine. Playing video games are fine. But to me, and this isn't supposed to be some outward external judgment of just like shaming other people for doing this. It's just a reminder to myself to not do that. It's okay to play video games. It's not okay to play video games when it becomes your whole life. And I feel it kind of like I want to have more educational stuff to validate my gaming. If I'm not teaching, I want to teach. Increase my self-esteem. Here we go. A long-term goal would be to date people that I think are a little out of my league, speak to my boss about a promotion, and spend more time on weekends with friends. Intermediate goal would be to wear clothes that I like and express my preferences to my friends and family. To increase your self-esteem in the short term, you could accept compliments from other people with a smile and a thank you. Okay, so, general goal. Oh boy. General goal. I guess become a better archer. You're like teach. It's kind of too broad though. A general goal: get along better with my spouse. I guess I could say get along better with my dad, because things have been kind of awkward. So the short-term goal would be like to maybe text her or calling him once a week, you know, would be a short-term goal. That's something I can do sort of like day to day. An intermediate goal would be to like, I guess, start having dinners again. Because they were weekly dinners, but I just feel like that's too much. What am I validating for? I guess long-term goal would be to get back to the point where we're doing it every week. That way we're talking every week. Where, or I guess a long term goal would be like he comes over here instead of me go over there, because that's what it's been. He makes what he wants to make. I go over there. He's got all the whatever. But like if he comes over to my house and I cook dinner for him, then I feel like that'd help my self-esteem, because it's like this is what we're doing, you know? To be like this is what we're having, you know, regardless of whether or not you want to have it or not. And it's not like he's trying to be mean about it. It's just he's just trying to experiment and do something different because it's different food every week. All right, well that's a general goal. I have room for 5 more general goals. I dropped my pen. Um, a general goal could be a better Twitch streamer, but I guess that's very general. You know, what does it mean to be better? Does it mean coming on here every day? Does it mean getting a follower every day? Like it's a measurable objective measure, but anyway, I'm gonna move on. Although I guess I should be filling out more, you know, like no, don't stop. Keep coming up with goals. Okay, so general goal, I wrote archery business and voice actor. So like what's a short-term goal for being a voice actor? I guess like do I don't know, record and listen to your own voice. That's a short-term goal. Just listen to it. It's fine. You're not used to the way it sounds, but you're used to the vibrations in your chest when you talk, and then you don't feel anything when you talk, so it's just kind of unnatural when you hear your voice in earphones. So what's an intermediate goal? I guess it would be to like actually take on a project, right? Or would that be a long-term goal? Yeah, you know what? Voice acting class or classes, because I just don't know how to like put myself out there. And then the long-term goal would be to like, you know, um, get a job doing voiceover. So record and listen to your own voice acting class or classes, and then get a job doing voiceover. Long-term goal, intermediate goal, short-term goal. So like with the archery business, what's a short-term goal? I guess like if you wanted to become a better archer, you could make a long-term goal like I want to compete. Like I want to go to a competition and like win a medal or something like that. It's an objective goal, right? Just like an objective goal on Twitch would be like, I want to become partner or affiliate or something. Um, so for the archery business, what's a short-term goal? I guess it's like put up more flyers. And then I guess the intermediate goal might be something like try to network. I'm just trying to connect with archers, but I don't actually like go to archery events that I don't really know and am familiar with. So I guess it's like, I did go to another archery range. That was in Covington, and that was when I lived downtown. So the next archery range I could go to would be like Archery Arena. It is a Thursday. Intermediate goal. Put up more flyers, go to an archery class or range, and then a long-term goal would be, I guess, get another customer. Even if it's just one. Because I got that Mark guy from working at the Renaissance Fair, which makes me think if I kept working at the Renaissance Fair and kept working at the archery range, then I can keep handing out business cards or flyers or whatever. So I guess the long term goal would be like stop working at the Renaissance Fair, but I like working at the Renaissance Fair, so it's tough. Okay, I'm feeling better about that. I got 3 of them now. Instead of just doing the one and then leaving the other 5 blank, I did 2 more. So, skill. Consider the costs versus benefits of change. This is a simple skill that increases motivation through careful consideration of the costs and benefits of change versus the cost and benefits of staying the same. Motivation decreases when you focus too much on the reasons to stay the same. You might tell yourself that staying the same isn't so bad today because you're busy and can't spare 10 minutes to practice a mindfulness skill. Or you might convince yourself that life is difficult enough. So why should you feel more uncomfortable by practicing one of the building emotion tolerance skills? You will consider the costs versus benefits in 2 separate steps. Let's look at the example worksheet and then choose a situation of your own to evaluate with the look at cost versus benefits of change worksheet. Take a few minutes and think through all the costs and benefits of changing. Do the same for staying the same. Be honest. You won't reach your goals by minimizing the costs of changing by overemphasizing the benefits of staying the same. Situation. Facing fear of panic attacks. Change. What if I have even more panic attacks? That's the cost. Maybe I'll find out that I'll never feel better. I barely have time to do my job. How will I do this too? Benefits. I won't worry so much about having a panic attack. I'll be able to keep my job and advance in my career. I'll feel better about myself if I overcome my worries. If you don't change, my world will get smaller and smaller. I won't be able to move up in the firm because I'm too anxious. I'll become even more dependent on my partner, which stresses our relationship. The benefits of not changing. It's easier to not face my fear. Maybe I'm not cut out for my job. I could just quit and immediately feel better. Some days it's not so bad. Maybe this whole thing will go away on its own. So the situation. I just can't help but think of archery. It all comes back to that. The situation. Being cynical. So, to change, what does it cost? I guess it costs my personality. Like, I guess I consider myself to be a cynical person. So if I forego cynicism, it sort of feels like a betrayal of my identity. It's like Sokka. I'm the meat and sarcasm guy. So to forego sarcasm would be to forego who he is as a person. Um, so one cost to change being cynical is the personality. What's another cost? I don't know. Not being funny, not being entertaining, not being like. What's the cost of not being cynical? like like toxic positivity, I guess. If I wasn't cynical, I would just be like, "Oh, everything's fine, everything's great," and that's not me. What's the benefits of changing the cynicism? People will like me more. I like me more. Like I like myself more as opposed to being like, "Why are you so fucking negative all the time?" Cynical, negative, same thing, kind of. Coffee before it goes. It's probably cold. Ew. It's not so cold that it makes me want to grimace. Okay. The benefits of changing my cynicism. Just having a more positive outlook, I guess. Feeling more positive. And then maybe more people want to be around me. So if I don't change being cynical, what's the cost? I just get more cynical. But what does that mean? It means, I guess it's just people don't want to be around me. Who wants to be around somebody who's like fucking bitter and negative and all that shit? I wouldn't. The Debbie Downer, you know? So the cost is being alone. And who wants that? What's another cost to cynicism? You can't look on the bright side. Unable to see the positive. Like, even if a positive situation is looking you right in the face, you're still going to find something negative about it. What's the benefits of not changing being cynical? Are there benefits to cynicism? Kind of. It's real, you know? You stay firmly rooted in reality, but then I just call bullshit, and I'm like, no, it's not real. It's like it's an over exaggeration of what you think is real. It's like, life fucking sucks, and it's like, yeah, because who wants to be around that? Not grateful, I guess. Like the benefit of being cynical, if I don't change, I really don't see one. I mean, I've pretty much laid out how like people don't like being around negative people, unless you're also negative, I guess, and it breeds negativity. It's easier, I guess. You know, the benefit of not changing my cynicism. Hmm. Okay, let's take a second look at costs versus benefits of change. You may have focused on one side of the equation for so long, the costs of change or the benefits of staying the same, that you develop tunnel vision and are overly focused on staying the same. The following skill can help you open your lens a little more so that change seems not only possible, but desirable too. I'm doing the exercise too, and I have not found any benefits. I guess that's the I guess that's the trick, you know? It's like tricking your brain into thinking, yeah, there is really no benefit to you continuing to do this, so why are you keep doing it? And it's like, huh, I don't know. The following skill can help you open your lens. Oh, wait, I already read that. Examine the look at cost versus benefits of change worksheet you developed for situation in the previous skill. Then take a look at the cost versus benefits change with the take a second look at costs versus benefits of change worksheet. Imagine that you invite a trusted friend or relative to provide the counterpoint to your points, the minuses of changing and the pluses of staying the same. Imagine how they might challenge your assumptions in a non-critical and caring way and record their answers to the following questions. What is a different view of this point? Are there new opportunities you're missing? Are there different possibilities you could pursue? Is there another way to look at this point that would increase your motivation? Is there a way to change the minus of changing or the plus of staying the same in a way that encourages you to try? So let's take a second look. What if I have even more panic attacks? Everything I've read about panic attacks tells me that if I practice some of the skills in this workbook, I'm likely to have fewer of them, not more of them. Maybe I'll find out that I'll never feel better. Even with the skills I practice, I'm already feeling better. The cost of change. I barely have time to do my job. How will I do this too? Yes, my job is crazy, but life could get a whole lot easier if I practice the skills I've learned. No change. The benefits of not changing. It's easier to not face my fear. Yes, it's easier to not face it, but my life is getting smaller and more difficult the longer this goes on. Maybe I'm not cut out for my job. I could just immediately quit and feel better. Quitting a job doesn't solve your problem. If I quit my job, I'd probably worry even more about finding money in another job. Some days it's not so bad. Maybe this whole thing will go away. I've been struggling for months. I've cut back on my work. I've cut back on my stress, but my anxiety is really high. If I was going to go away on its own, if it was going to go away on its own, it would have gone away on its own by now. Okay. So, I guess I just keep the situation the same. Being cynical. Okay. Situation. Being cynical. So this person was like, what if I have even more panic attacks? I won't worry so much about having a panic attack. The cost is the personality. It's like, I guess a friend being like, you can't not be cynical, Chris. That's who you are. Unless I'm misunderstanding. I'd say it's who I was. I'm becoming more positive, you know? It's not gonna be. I'm not just gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm positive now. I mean, unless you're talking about something else. Anyway, guess it depends on who you're sleeping with. But anyway, being cynical is who I am. It's not who I was. It's not. It's who I was, not who I am. And I guess it's who you surround yourself with. So let's take a second look at toxic positivity. I do not want toxic positivity. But like, what's my remedy supposed to be? Isn't that just supposed to be like the way you circumvent negativity by being positive? I feel like I'm just chronically negative, like toxic negativity. I guess that's it. You know, the counterpoint is just like, you know, don't be cynical, because there's really not much benefit to it that I'm noticing. Benefits of not changing. It's easier to not face my fear. Yes, it's easier, but my life is getting smaller. The benefits or the costs of being cynical is being alone. Well, I guess the thing I have to consider is that being alone is a bad thing, and it's like being alone is good. Can be a good thing. If you're always surrounded by the wrong people, you know, you don't have any thoughts to yourself, so it's a pain in the butt. Okay. So I looked at like if I was gonna be cynical, I would be alone, and I'd be unable to see the positive. So by not changing, the benefit of being cynical is not seeing the positive. That doesn't make any sense. The benefits. This is just confusing me. If I don't change, a benefit is not seeing the positive. That's not a benefit. I feel like it's just another cost. What, did I put that down wrong? No, that's costs. If you can't see the positive, there is always a brighter side. But if you're always looking at the negative side, you can't see the positive side, so it's a tunnel vision thing. You likely have people in your life who love and care about you. They probably have told you that they're concerned about you and your struggles. Although it's essential that the motivation to change comes from within you, the concerns of others can encourage you to continue your journey when motivation dims. Record your answers on the Consider the Concerns of Others worksheet. In the person column, list the names of people in your life who have voiced their concerns about you. In the concern column, list the specific reasons they shared with you. Try to be as specific as possible. It helps to translate concerns into behaviors, or what you're doing or not doing. If the concern is you're very depressed, list what the person observes when you are depressed. You sleep most of the day, you decline invitations to do fun activities. In the reason column, list the reasons for their concern. The reasons for their concern include not only the effects they observe on you, but also the effects they observe on themselves and others. You might write in the reason column the burden your spouse feels in taking care of the house and the kids because you put off doing things. Reflect on each of the concerns and reasons. Ask yourself whether you can see their point of view even a little. If you disagree with their concerns and reasons, consider what makes sense about their concerns and why they might see this as a concern. Write this in the reason column too. You may wish to review the worksheet with a trusted friend or a family member and hear what they think about concerns and reasons. Do they agree or disagree with the concerns? Do they have concerns of their own? Place this worksheet in a private place and read the list of concerns and reasons when your motivation wavers. Consider the Concerns of Others worksheet. List the names of people in your life who have voiced concerns about you and your struggles. I guess it's mostly my mom. Depressed, I guess. List what the person observes when you are depressed. I guess I just stop talking. Or I talk a lot like slower than I like, you can tell with my tone. Melancholy. I didn't spell that right. Tone. Reason. List the reasons for their concerns. It's tough because I want to say it's because she loves me, but I don't feel it. Like, it just feels like control. It just feels like, oh, he's upset and I can't control it, so I'm going to try to talk to him to control it, to try to change it. But that doesn't really work. It's just sort of an avoidance. Love / control. Because if you love something, you don't try to control it, right? Or, I mean, Bunny, you're a mom, so what do you think? Like, I don't know. My dad has told me to in the past, but just like, you seem down. Reason. Love, I guess. Well, people don't really share their concerns with me. The only two people I can think of are those two people. Damn, that's depressing. Anyway, follow your limits. You've learned to examine the costs and benefits of both changing and staying the same. Furthermore, you've learned to challenge the benefits of staying the same and developed a new point of view to help motivate you to change. However, you may require more to motivate yourself, or you may require more to motivate you than these benefits and costs. You may require deeper reasons to change. Take a look at another skill that can motivate you. Follow your values. Values are not the same as goals. Values are a direction or course, and goals are specific destinations or points. Along the way, as you move in the direction of a given value, values are a process and goals are a product. Underline that. Values are a process and goals are a product. Integrity is a value, and speaking truthfully and sensitively to colleagues is a goal. Health is a value. Meeting yearly with your physician's a goal. Values aren't desires, wishes, or preferences like sex, money, or Indian food. Values are truths, beliefs, or understandings. Some values, such as charity or generosity, are in the service of others. Other values, like creativity or spirituality, are most often in the service of your own welfare and growth. Values add meaning, purpose, and direction to our lives and thereby motivate us in deep ways. Identify the values that will motivate you and develop value action statements to motivate you. Identifying core values is a process of reflection and discovery. Few of us take the time to identify what is important to us. This is not to say that your values aren't guiding and motivating you. If you're passionate about something, whether it's playing basketball or running for political office, a core value is likely leading the way. Read through the entire list of value words on the Identity Values worksheet. As you read the value words, ask yourself, what do I want to stand for when it comes to the value? If I overheard people talking about what they admire about me, what words would I want to hear? Next to each word, write a 1, 2, or 3. 1 is most important, 2 is important, and 3 is unimportant. Of the most important words, select 10. And then from these 10, select 3 to 5 of the value. Write the words on the bottom of the worksheet. Of these most important value words, select 10. And then from these 10, select 3 to 5 of the most important. Now that you've identified your 3 to 5, describe how these align with your actual behavior. Identify values worksheet. Do I value adventure? Kinda? Yes? Yes? It's important? It's not as important as autonomy. That is important to me. Beauty? Challenge? Clarity? Yes. Cleverness? Yes. Collaboration? Kinda. Commitment? No. Communication? Yes. Community? Kinda. Competence? Yes. Competition? No. Cooperation? Yes. Control? Yes. Courage? Creativity? Curiosity? Yes. Decisiveness? I can't decide what to put. 2. Dependability, 1. Diversity, yes. Effectiveness, yes. Efficiency, yes. Empathy, yes. Equality, yes. Excellence, yes. Excitement, Fairness, yes. Family, yes. Flexibility, yes. Freedom, yes. Friendship, yes. Fulfillment, yes. Fun, yes. Happiness, yes. Harmony, yes. Health, I mean, yes, but I don't have insurance, so it's kind of like, I still value it. Honesty, absolutely. Honor, yes. Humor, yes. Independence, yes. Influence, no. Kind of, but not really. Initiative, Innovation, eh. Integrity, yes. Intelligence, hell yes. Intuition, kind of. Justice, yes. Kindness, yes. Learning, absolutely. Legacy, I don't really care. Love, yes. Loyalty, yes. Obedience, yes. Order, yes. Originality, patience, yes. Peace, yes. Persistence, Perspective, yes. Power, I don't want power. Fuck off. Prestige, no. Productivity, yes. Prosperity, eh. Purpose, purposefulness, yes. Quality, nah. Recognition, yes. Relationships, relationships with the wrong people, you know. Respect, yes. Service, 2. Simplicity, yes. Sincerity, yes. Spirituality, 2. Strength, 1. Tolerance, 3. Wisdom, 1. I got a lot of 1s, dude. Mine doesn't come from control. Mine comes from wanting to help her work through whatever she would be going through and try to help her understand, making sure she doesn't have to be alone in anything she goes through. There you go. So I guess it's like my mom doesn't want me to feel like I'm alone. Like, I'm here for you, that kind of thing, but it's easier said than done, you know? Okay. Let's see here. Now I'm supposed to select 10 words, and then from the 10, 3 to 5 are the most important. Oh, jeez. Autonomy, clarity, cleverness, communication. Communication's important to me. Curiosity is important to me. Empathy is important. Integrity. I'd say learning too. It's always a two-way street for me, whether I'm learning something or I want to teach somebody about something. Write these words on the lines at the bottom of the worksheet. Communication, curiosity, empathy, integrity, learning. I've written them over here, so they're still there. And I wrote 5, I didn't write 3. Now that you've identified 3 to 5, describe how well these values align with your actual behavior. I'd say I communicate pretty well. Overly so. Do I value curiosity? Yes. Integrity? Yes. Learning? Yes. Empathy? Yes. Alright. We're almost done. We're getting there. In this next step, you'll develop value action statements that you'll use to motivate yourself when motivation dims. In other words, you'll translate values into action. Values in action are committed actions. Committed actions include your willingness to consistently practice the skills in this workbook, as well as face discomfort, all in the service of your values. For example, if your value is integrity, then you'll tell the truth when a friend asks for your opinion, regardless of how worried you are. Your friend may be upset with you. Or if your value is relationships, then you'll face the discomfort of first dates and practice the communication skills in this workbook. Look at the example worksheet and you can use the Develop Value Action Statements worksheet to develop a series of value-driven statements to motivate yourself at any time, but particularly when your motivation dims. Next to the value word, write one of your 3 to 5 most important value words. Next to value action, write a behavior or action that's consistent with and serves this value. Often this is the opposite of what you're avoiding or doing or starting. If you're avoiding practicing the relaxation skills in the workbook because you're too busy and can't find the time, then the opposite of this would be to practice a relaxation skill every day, regardless of how busy you are. Ask yourself, what could I do that I'm not motivated to do? Is practicing a particular workbook skill? Is it practicing a skill when you're uncomfortable, such as assertively asking your boss for a raise, or doing some pleasant activities when you're depressed? Next to value action statement, write 1 or 2 sentences that combine the value word and the value action. Try to make the statement clear and powerful. Before you practice a skill that makes you uncomfortable, or any time that you notice that you're putting off practicing a skill, or that you've lost your motivation to try, close your eyes and repeat the value action statement to yourself several times. Imagine yourself doing the value action. Then as you start the value action, repeat the value action statement under your breath as if you're talking yourself through it. So like one of the things I put for a value word, I put learning, and then I put the value action as seeking and sharing information, and then a value action statement was it doesn't matter as long as I'm learning something. It doesn't matter if it's about uh, sticks that we wipe our butts with, or if it's about music, or if it doesn't matter. Learn and practice relaxation skills in the workbook. In order to learn and improve my life, I'll practice 2 relaxation skills every day. Oh, sort of like, okay. Value word. Curiosity. Value action. Value action. What's an action that involves being curious? In order to learn something new, I have to seek out new info every day if I want to learn something new. Like going into Google and typing like "did you know" or something like that. Elba. Oh boy. Elbella Koski. I like your dancing Charmander emotes. How's it going? Welcome to the room. You won't always find me reading stuff, but I'm trying to shift it to more educational stuff. But regardless of we're having a good day, I hope that this has helped you in some way, shape, or form, and if it hasn't, it's helped me. So I'm still learning stuff. So let's see. What is another value word that I wrote down? If I value sincerity, simplicity, strength. Strength. Value action. Lifting weights. I have to exercise. So, like, if my value is strength and an action is lifting weights or going on walks, then I have to exercise every day. Whether that's doing archery, whether that's hiking, whether that's just walking the dogs, whatever. And then the last one, come up with another value word here. Control. Kindness. What's a value action for kindness? It's being positive, I guess. It's not being positive. It's like making people feel good about themselves. So, if my value is kindness, then my value action would be making people feel good or making myself feel good instead of making myself feel bad. And I will be kind to myself when I feel negative. Okay, we only have like 3 or 4 more pages, but I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to leave you for just a second while I pull up my sign here. And I'm going to mute my microphone, so if I come back and I forget to mute, please tell me. Alright, I'm back. And welcome back. Thank you, thank you. It looked like Elba or E-Bella or El-Bella or whatever. It looked like they were streaming. 007, I think, Goldeneye, something like that. I'm still muted. I am. It looks like the microphone's going up for me. I hit the button. A simple way to increase your motivation is to try. A simple way to increase your motivation to try something is to rehearse doing it first in your mind. It's a great way to give yourself practice before you try a task. Say that you're planning to ask your boss for a raise and you're hesitating because you feel a bit nervous. Repeatedly rehearsing in your mind what you will say will increase your confidence and thereby increase your motivation to try. You can rehearse in your mind first almost any skill in this workbook. You might imagine going through the steps of solving a problem before you try it. You're not muted? Thank you, Ace. How you doing? Congratulations on the job. Where did you, I was gonna ask, where did you get the job? Um, find a quiet place where no one will disturb you for 10 minutes. On a blank piece of paper, write the steps of the task you rehearse in your mind. If the task is speaking to your boss about a raise, list all the steps in doing this. Include a detailed sensory experiences in the steps you describe to make the scene feel more real. Imagine what you see around you, the color of the walls, what people are wearing, what sounds you hear. Feel the temperature on your skin. Do you feel cold or warm? The richer the scene you imagine, the more powerful the experience you create. Most importantly, describe applying the skill or completing the task successfully. It was me, my headphone. Oh, got it. Sometimes that happens to me too. Like when I go to type in somebody's chat, but I'm not actually in their chat box, so I end up pressing K or whatever the button is, and it like mutes them when I never meant to mute them, and I think they're muted, but they're not muted, so it happens. A blank piece of paper. Blah, 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 blah. Most importantly, describe applying the skill or completing the task successfully. If the scene is to ask your boss for a raise, describe going through the assertiveness skill and then imagining your boss saying, "You deserve it, let's talk about how big it will be." Once you've written the scene, read through the script several times to familiarize yourself with it. Now close your eyes and breathe slowly for 1 minute. When you're ready, rehearse in your mind the scene you've written. Remember to imagine that you successfully applied the skill. Skill, take another seat. Thank you. I got it at an AQ Chicken A restaurant. Just gonna be a busser, but at least it's something. Hey, yeah, you gotta start somewhere. Congratulations, you know? I wish I could give you a shout out. Well, I mean, I say I wish as if it's not within my ability, but it certainly is. Why am I trying to raid you? My God. Okay, shout out to Ace for his new job as a bus boy, busser. I guess they do try to give you gender neutral terms, don't they? Interesting. Getting distracted. This is a powerful and fun skill to increase your motivation. The skill is based on the empty chair technique developed in psychodrama therapy. In a sense, you talk yourself into trying. Even if you don't try, you'll learn why you're not willing to try something that could help you feel and do better. Find a quiet room that has 2 chairs. Place the chairs across from each other in your mind. Label one the try and one the not try. Sit in the not try chair. Imagine you're looking at your try alter ego sitting in the try chair in front of you. Now, talk to the try alter ego and give all the reasons not to try. Don't hold back. Throw out every possible reason you can imagine not to try. Now move to the try chair. Imagine you're looking at your not try alter ego sitting in the not try chair in front of you. Now, talk to the not try alter ego and give all the reasons you can imagine to try. Counter some of the reasons your not try alter ego gave for not trying. Continue this for several minutes as you move from one chair to the other. Keep going until you've exhausted every conceivable reason you can think of to try and not to try. Now, on a blank sheet of paper, write all of the great reasons you came up with to try and the counterpoints to the reasons you came up with not to try. Like any skill, particularly those that are new and sometimes difficult to learn and practice, persistence and willingness are the keys to deep and lasting change. The motivation skills in this chapter will help you learn and practice the other workbook skills, but you'll go back to find these skills. You'll go back to these skills over and over when your motivation dips or your willingness falters. You'll find this to be particularly true when you practice the emotion exposure skills later in this workbook. Facing uncomfortable feelings is a challenging skill to master. Maintaining your motivation through the process is critical. In the next chapter, you'll learn skills to dampen the physical sensation and arouse other company emotions, particularly anxiety, anger, and sadness. The CBD skills we cover are a great place to start. They're easy to learn and apply. They're easy to learn and can apply and can help you feel better immediately.
I gotta take care of my dogs real quick. Sounds good, Ace.
Take your time. Take care of those dogs. Tell them I said hello. Give them some pets for me. People don't want to do archery because it's dangerous. People don't want to do archery because they can't afford it. People don't want to do archery because it's not something that you can do every day. You can't even do it in certain times of the year when it's raining. There's no point in going and knocking on someone's door and asking them to be a part of your archery business because you're going to their home and soliciting them at their place of whatever. You can't go to a business and do it because it's just soliciting from their customers and they don't want their customers to be bothered. There's only so much money to go around. You shouldn't try to make your own archery business because it's just not practical. Even though. What are you talking about? Archery is incredibly practical. It teaches you how to be athletic. It teaches you how to concentrate. It teaches you how to control. It teaches you how to socialize. It teaches you how to be a good sport. When you miss the target, and your buddy next to you is like, "You fucking suck," and it's like, "Why am I friends with you?" You know, it doesn't matter what they think. It's what do you think? Your approach to archery. I think there's a point of trying to become a better archer and to teach people about archery because it's real. It's recreational. It's a way of connecting with people that you never would have thought because you're getting tunnel vision focusing on one spot. That doesn't mean that people can't talk to you. Doesn't mean you can't connect with other people. You should try because people need it. People need it more than they think they need it. They only need it when they go to the Renaissance Fair and they're like, "Oh, that looks like fun," and then they do it, and then that's their in. That was your in. You didn't have to try to do archery, but you did. And it made such a profound effect on your life that now you want to spread that to other people. You should try. You should try because there's somebody out there who might need this just as badly as you need it. The the desire to connect, the desire to escape, the desire for control. These are all things you can do with archery, but all you can manage, all you can seem to think about is how people are going to call you a fucking idiot. Just because you want to try to help them. Are you helping them by taking their money? You shouldn't try to make it a business, you should try to make it a club. This isn't something that people are going to spend their money on. Why are you trying to mill people for their money? People already can barely afford to survive on their own, and you're going to sit here and be all like, just give me $5. Give me your money. Something that you think should be free anyway. You're going to try to make a business out of? A liability. People hurt themselves. And then they can sue you. But people could get hurt. I could get hurt. I'm hurting myself every day. Every day that I tell myself that people don't want a part of this and they don't want to do it, that just makes my problem worse and worse and worse. If I go out there and at least pretend that people want to do it, then I give myself a fighting chance. But every day that I sit myself in that chair and I tell myself not to try, then I'm not going to try. Try.
Well, that's chapter 1. I thank everybody for being here. Bunny, Ace. I think I'm gonna go make some breakfast. But stay safe out there. You too, Bunny.